Hello guys, and welcome back. As you can tell by the title, today I'm going to be talking about my experience on Abby's Ultimate Dance Competition. I am being completely honest here, whether you like it or not. If you don't want to hear me talk smack on some of your idols, then click away. So let's just get into it. This was I think it was 2012. And so I was 12 years old, and I know I came back from a flea market one day with my mom and my friend. I think it was Kelly, and I was watching the finale of Abby's Ultimate Dance Competition Season 1, and I was like, I'm gonna be on that show. My mom's like, yeah. I'm like, I'm filling out an application. I went online, I filled out the application, and my mom was like, okay, have fun. Soon after, I started getting emails back from Lifetime, and then I eventually had a Skype interview, and then we got flown out to New York for a live interview where I had to perform one of my solos, and me and my mom had our first interview on camera. A few weeks later, we got the call saying that we were picked to be on the show, and after a lot of going back and forth with wanting to do it, not wanting to do it, wanting to leave, not wanting to leave, we finally decided, yes, we're gonna do it. So we packed up, flew out to Cali, left school, everything behind. It was April 20th, I think, when they flew us out, and yeah, that was it. We were like, bye guys. This was all filmed in 2013, so if I do not remember things perfectly, or I'm having trouble remembering some things, it's because this was a while ago. So at first they had us living in a hotel. It was really hard getting used to the time difference. I just remember me and my mom going to sleep at the weirdest times. We were just so not in our comfort zone, our little northeast bubble. So it was our first day of actually filming. We had our first challenge. We were meeting each other. I remember someone on Abby's team picked out an outfit for me out of my clothes. My mom and I had our first interview on set. I had to be recorded doing one of my solos on stage just so they can get tricks and clips for the opening credits. Not the opening credits, I don't know what you call that. And then we had our first challenge, and I just remember walking in there and being like, oh my god, what did I get myself into? I walked in there, and everybody was just kind of meeting each other for the first time, and this was so strange for me. I'm very comfortable, I would say, in my little Pennsylvania, New Jersey bubble. At this point in my life, I've never heard of a dance convention. I've never taken classes from other people other than my dance teacher. At this point in my life, I had only known what I had known and nothing else. So I'm coming into this thing what is going on? These girls and boys, they were all hugging each other. Oh my god, I haven't seen you in so long. Oh my god, I miss you. And I'm just these people know each other? What? And I see Kalani in the corner bending her leg behind her head, and JoJo's front and center doing jumping jacks, and Michaeli's doing 30 turns in the corner, Trinity's doing backflips. Everybody was just so good, and I just remember sitting there oh no. I'm out the first week, oh no. Everybody was talking about things that they've done in the past, TV shows, commercials, I worked with this person, I worked with this person, I know this person, and I'm just I do dance competitions. I just remember talking to my mom, why does everybody know each other? It seems I'm the only one. I just felt so out of place. I was the only one that didn't know anybody. I've never heard of these dance conventions that they all go to. They all were kind of related somehow, and I was just the outcast, it felt like. We ended up moving in on set, so it was this big compound in Glendale, California. There was a couple big buildings where we worked. There was a weird car collection in the back. There were old cars, I don't know, it was so weird. And then there was a couple little houses. So the first house is the one that I lived in, so it was me and my mom, McKaylee and her mom, Trinity and her mom, and Haley and her mom. So we all lived in this house together. We had a living room, a dining room, a bathroom without a shower, and then we had all of our rooms upstairs. We shared them with our moms. And then we had our bathrooms outside in this trailer thing. It was disgusting. I don't know how I did that for 2 months. Then there was the other house. So this is house number 2, I'll call it. This is where Serena and Chloe lived. They were the first people to get eliminated, so we kind of had an open house for the rest of the time being. And then in the third thing, there were little apartments. So we had Travis, Tyler, and their mom. We had Allie and her mom, JoJo and her mom, and Kalani and her mom, and they all lived in their own separate apartments, and they all had their own bathrooms. They were so freaking lucky. A lot of people ask me like who I was close with on the show, and the answer is definitely the girls that I lived with. So like McKaylee, Trinity, and Haley were the girls that I got closest with just because I was with them all the time, and they are just the sweetest people ever. Like, I love them. Everybody was pretty much close with the boys. They were so nice. Everybody loved the boys. Like, no one didn't like the boys. Typical day on set, we would wake up and we would all usually go to the food truck. There was this food truck on set, and they made the best food ever. Like, I had every single morning, I got the same thing. I got a big Belgian waffle with like fruit on it and powdered sugar. Oh my god, it was so good. I miss being able to just like wake up, walk outside to the food truck and like get my food. And it was California, so it's always nice out. Like, it was so pretty. And then we would all go back to our house. All the makeup artists would come and we would all just like get touched up. They'd do our like lipstick, like powder us, whatever. This is so hard to explain. So we would either go to a challenge and then we would have like blocks, I guess I'd call them, and or we would just wake up and just have a day of like straight blocks. Through these blocks you were doing one of three things. Either you were at school, you were either in interview or you were in rehearsal. In rehearsal you were assigned a choreographer. I was the luckiest person on that TV show because I got to work with Tassandra almost every week, and she's amazing. Oh my god. I got to work with Matt, who was awesome as well. A couple other people once in a while, but I mostly had them two, and they were so awesome. These rehearsals were cool. This was like where we got to start our dances, learn our dances, practice our dances, and then like Abby would come in at some point and make us feel horrible about ourselves, and then she would leave. So those were our rehearsals. For the interviews, we would go into the interview room. The room basically consisted of a cameraman, a producer, and a makeup artist. So the makeup artist was there for just like touch-ups in case you started like crying or whatever, because they loved that. Then there was a cameraman who just kind of like stood back there in silence, and then there was a producer who was the one that was asking you all the questions, trying to strum your heartstrings and get you to let everything out, which personally for me that was not easy. That was like probably the most uncomfortable part about the show, was me trying to like open up to these random people in front of a camera and cry to them, which I did pretty often. And then school was where we had time to learn. Again, this was in April, so it's like the middle of the school year. Some of the kids on the show were already homeschooled, so they could just like do their schoolwork that they normally would do, or like they did online school. I personally was in public school, so I had to go to my teachers before I left, say, hey, I'm leaving, I can't tell you why, but I need all my work for the next 2 months. And they were like, so I was like, give me all the work, and then I took it to California, and then like every day we would have school. We had these teachers or tutors that would sit there with us. They were so helpful. This is how they taught. Okay, does anybody want donuts? 3? Okay. They didn't help me with anything, but after like 2 weeks of being there, I would just sit on my computer and watch Netflix. Honestly, that's all any of us did. We usually had like 2-3 days, I guess. Seems like we had a week to like practice, but we didn't. We had like 2 days. And I'm used to learning a dance in like December and not performing it until March, so that was very weird for me to learn a dance in 2 days, especially since all of them had like crazy props or crazy costumes. On set, we did have girls that made us costumes. If you watch the show and you see a costume, you're like, wow, that's awesome. Like, they definitely made it. But then there were some weeks that they were like, okay, you guys make your own costumes. And they would just like hand you like a little piece of fabric and be like, here you go. Good luck. My mom's like, what? Like, most of the costumes that my mom made for me consisted of a bra and skirt, usually bought at some sex shop in downtown LA. With some fabric hot glued over it, probably, and then like put some rhinestones on there and call it a costume. They basically just like threw fabric at them and was like, go. All the moms are like no one knew how to do this, so like that was kind of ridiculous. And then like Abby would yell at us and be like, I didn't really like that costume. Like, okay, sorry, like you, like what? A lot of people like to ask me if being on camera was weird, and the answer is at first, yeah, because obviously no one's used to like having people just like follow you around like After a little while you just kind of like ignore them, just live your life the way you would normally live it, and they are just capturing it A lot of people also ask me if I met the Dance Moms girls, and yes, I have. From the original team I'm talking about, I've met, I think, all of them besides Brooke and Paige, and they were all super nice. There was one point on the show where Maddie and Mackenzie came, and then there was also a point on the show when Asia came, and all three of them are sweet as anything. So I don't know what they're like now, but like way back then when they were so sweet. The most asked question that I usually get is Abby really as mean as she is on TV, or is that just an act? If I'm being completely honest, she is an evil bitch. If she likes you, she is so nice to you, but personally, she hated me. She hated my mother, so I kind of got the dump. She is, where do I find the words to describe her? I don't even know. Like, ugh, like, I'm so happy that woman is in jail. I wish she could stay there forever. She was extremely disrespectful to me and so disrespectful to my mother. I wish that I could go on that show right now at this age, because I would not take a single word that woman said. If you watch the show and you saw my mom, like, my mom doesn't take shit from people, and like, I've kind of grown up to kind of do the same thing. We went on there now. She's just not a nice woman. I mean, if you think about it, like, her job is to tear apart young girls and break them down as much as possible on national TV for money. Like, that's her job. Her job is to make people feel absolutely horrible for money. I posted on Instagram saying, "Bye Abby, have fun in jail," and I got so many comments being like, Abby made you such a better dancer, like, Abby blah blah blah. I'm like, Abby didn't do shit for me. The only thing Abby did for me was ruin the little bit of confidence that I had in myself and put me through a depression that lasted up until just about now. That woman did nothing but break me down, disrespect me, disrespect my mom and my family and so many other people. Like, she's just a disgusting woman. She's just such a bad person. I just remember when we would be warming up for our challenges, or when we were in rehearsal, and when Abby would come in, it's just like my stomach would drop. Like, I would just be in this like state of fear that I just start like sweating. Like, no person should make anybody feel that way. Like, and she didn't even have to try. She would just walk in and that's what would happen. Like, it was horrible. So after the show was over, we were not allowed to tell anybody about this. So I basically just left, just like dropped off the face of the earth for 2 months, and no one knew what happened to me. I came back to school, everybody's like, "Where were you?" I was like, It was so awkward. Everybody was so confused, but like, you don't know what to say. Eventually, we started doing meet and greets. Haley's from Connecticut, Travis and Tyler from Rhode Island, I'm from Pennsylvania, so we're all pretty close together, so we used to travel together just kind of like around studios in the Northeast. So we would just get together, we would go to different studios, and we would meet people, and these were so much fun. Like, I remember we traveled to Nebraska, we traveled to Florida, we traveled to Long Island. Like, I just remember going to all these different places, and I was like barely in school, so I started doing homeschooling, which was a hot mess. Let's just say I failed every single class and then went back to regular school after a month. Homeschooling is not for me. And meet and greets were so much fun. Like, we all had such a good time together, and we met so many amazing people, and like, I still have so many gifts that people have given me. All of this started going on when those like loom bracelets started coming out, remember them? And I have like big like gallon bags of just like loom bracelets because people used to give me them all the time, and it's so cute. People have given me like t-shirts and like all this stuff, and that was so cool, and I still have all of that stuff. Things were starting to get weird. Like, we all started getting like all these Instagram followers, and like I would like go to the mall and people would be like, "Oh my god, are you Gianna Newborg?" And I'm like, yeah, like, why? Like, all of us were kind of starting to get noticed by people, and it was very strange. Like, I remember going to dance competitions, and I would be like in the dressing room, like getting changed, and there's girls like, I'm just like, ugh. That's when I kind of realized, like, I don't want this. I don't want any more of this TV stuff. Just like, I started to miss my friends, and I was missing out on everything, and I was like, I just want to be like a normal kid, and that's what I ended up doing. I kept getting invites, come try out for Dance Moms, come do this for Dance Mom. Count me out. Keep me as far away from that woman as possible. I just want to be a normal person. I want to live a normal life. I want to have fun with my friends. I want to dance in my dance studio. Like, I just don't want anything to do with that anymore, and that's exactly what I did. Abby and the show both kind of really took a toll on my confidence and took a toll on my, just like my self-esteem all around, not for the good, for the bad. Being on this TV show kind of put a lot of pressure on me. When I go to a dance competition, I can't just go up on stage and dance how I normally do. Now I had this thing in my head telling me, like, no, when you go on stage, like, you have to be perfect. Like, these people know who you are. Like, you have to be good. Like, my biggest fear was, like, getting on stage and being bad and people talking bad about me. And I was so scared of that it was stupid. I realized now that, like, it was so dumb. In my head, I thought that everybody was, like, expecting something from me. Like, I thought everybody expected me to be perfect, and I didn't want to let people down. I didn't want people to think less of me, so I would, like, I don't know, it was just a really, really rough time. This show caused me a lot of issues internally. I hate Abby Lee. I hate her. I don't hate many people on this planet, but I hate her. For the most part, the girls on the show were very nice. There were some cocky girls, and I was not very close with them, so if that narrows it down. There were some very, very obnoxious people on that show. I'm not gonna name, but I think when you think of the people that were on my show, and you think of the word obnoxious, I think we all know who comes to mind. I don't think I need to even say it. If you watch the show, you would know. And sadly, these are the ones that continued to do things in the TV world and continued to become even more successful, which is really sad because normally that's not the way things should work, I feel like. But yes, it was a very cool experience. I did get to meet a lot of amazing people. I got to work with some choreographers that I will never ever get the chance to work with again. They were so amazing. I did learn a lot about myself. I got to learn a lot of different styles of dance. I got to learn how to work with heels, learn silks, learn how to work with these huge props and how to make it look seamless. Everything that I learned dance-wise did not come from Abby. Turns out, I didn't find this out until like way later, but when I filled out the audition thing and I sent it in and I got accepted, I was the only one from that show that got in through that process. Everybody else that was on the show got in because of a friend that like referred them or like their agent signed them up for it or whatever, but I was the only one who physically filled out an application online, sent it in, got a response back, and actually made it onto the show, which I think is pretty cool because nobody else did that. They all like kind of had it the easy way, I guess. A lot of people like to ask if I keep in touch with anybody from the show, and the answer is no. I mean, I don't think besides like the ones that see each other are really close with any of each other. Like, I don't talk to anybody. Nobody tries to talk to me. I mean, like, I've tried to reach out to people, but never really works out. My mom still talks to like, my mom does talk to a lot of the moms still. She talks to them like on Facebook and texts them and stuff, so my mom does talk to the other moms, but like the kids don't really talk to each other, which is kind of weird. I feel like it would normally be the other way around, but another aftermath effect that this show has had on me is I physically can't watch any dance shows, like World of Dance, like Dance Moms, like any of these like America's Got Talent, like reality shows. It's just like, ugh! Now that I know what it's like, I just like can't watch it. A lot of people also like to ask if the show was scripted, and no, it was not scripted. Some things were like set up, but it wasn't like, here's your script, read. It was more like, oh, Cindy, like I heard this one was talking about Gianna, like why don't you go confront her like right now? It was more like that. So like, it wasn't scripted, but some things were set up. And I mean, most of the fighting happened naturally. Like, we're all in such a stressful situation. We're all stressed. We're all on TV. Like, we're all pretty much for the most part, besides Travis and Tyler, like we're all females. Like, we were just bound to like tear each other apart, which kind of happened, but we all survived. We're all okay. So that is about it. Now you guys know my experience with the show. I'm sorry if I crushed any of your dreams. I don't think I did. I think I was pretty nice. Yeah, stay tuned for the Q&A. It should be coming up soon. If you have any more questions, leave them in the comments. I'll be sure to try and get back to you. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye!